Everyone knows that chameleons are masters at changing color, but most people think that these egg-laying reptiles employ their color-changing ability only when they need to blend in with the environment. This video aims to explain other far more important reasons why a chameleon would choose to change its color, how exactly it happens with reference to the anatomy of their peculiar skins, and a few fun facts you never knew about them. Stick around to learn. At the end of this video, I'll show you two videos of chameleons changing their color. Can you tell which one is fake and which one is real? Make sure to watch the video till the end. Chameleons have called this planet home for the last 90 million years after evolving from lizards. Of the 217 chameleon species known to science, 42% of them are endemic to and live in Madagascar, majorly in a tropical forest. More than half of the species living in Madagascar Island, which is also regarded as a biodiversity hotspot, are categorized as threatened or near threatened with extinction. By analyzing fossil information, evolutionary biologists have determined chameleons are indigenous to Africa's mainland. They migrated by hitching onto rafts of trees, flowed downstream African rivers into the Indian Ocean, and driven eastward to Madagascar Island due to the eastward nature of oceanic currents during Miocene. These lizards are also found in southern India, Sri Lanka, parts of Middle East and southern Europe. Chameleons are fascinating and are considered charismatic animals, with several unique features that make them the most preferred reptile pet in the US and other parts of the world. They can move their eyes independently, where each eye has a field of 180 degrees. This superb vision enables them to scan the environment behind them for predators, while at the same time focusing on the prey before them. Chameleons have extremely fast and powerful tongues, which sometimes exceeds accelerations of 41 g-forces. The sticky tongue, which consists of bone and muscles, can be as long as twice the length of the reptile. This impeccable ability makes it easy for the lizard to convert a prey in the vicinity into a meal within a fraction of a second. Ever wondered why chameleons make slow, hesitant, but deliberate back and forth steps while walking? Oh yes, there's a reason for that. They imitate the motion of leaves in wind so as to remain as synonymous as possible to their leafy environment, hence being unobtrusive. The other feature, which is the one chameleons are most known for, is that they are masters of camouflage. But before we get to how and why they do the color shifting, let's look at how human beings perceive colors. This will help us understand better. Here's a word from a leading expert in perception, Bao Lotto, professor of neuroscience at a London-based university college, which would serve as an essential prerequisite and an eye-opener. A color only exists in your head. There is such thing as light, there is such thing as energy, there is no such thing as color. This means that how we see an object has everything to do with how that object is illuminated. When a surface is illuminated by natural or artificial light, what follows is an interaction between the light and the surface. Due to the nature of the material of the surface, most of the light can be absorbed and some can be reflected. The reflected light finds its way into the eye and through the optical nerve, now as electrical signal and not as light, it gets to the brain where it's interpreted. So this is what it means when an object, say a ball, shows a particular color, let's say blue. When light interacts with the object's surface, all the light is absorbed and only the blue light is reflected, and that's what gets to your eye and is interpreted as blue color by the brain. So upon interaction of light with the surface, when all light is reflected, we see a white color. When no light is reflected, we see a black color. Black surfaces absorb all wavelengths of light and convert them to heat. That's why it's said black surfaces absorb heat. In summary, the color of the object is not contained within the object itself. The color is as a result of the light which strikes the object and is reflected by it. In order to explain how chameleons change colors, first we must distinguish between two different kinds of coloration in animals, pigmentary and structural coloration. The most common one, pigmentary coloration, is one that an organism shows due to pigments present in their tissues, such as melanin in human skin. Structural coloration is generated by the reflection of light by some skin microstructures. So, which type of coloration works for chameleons? For chameleons, both mechanisms come to play. Chromatophore is a type of pigmentary containing cell found in ectothermic or cold-blooded animals. Chameleons have red, yellow, and black chromatophores. These cells are distributed in multiple layers and have the ability to expand, contract, aggregate, or disperse, causing color variation. For the longest time, scientists considered this as the only way chameleons change color. But in a study conducted with panther chameleons, it was proved that they also have two layers of guanine nanocrystal-bearing cells, called iridophores. The deeper layer, D-iridophores, consists of clear nanocrystal-bearing cells that help the cold-blooded animal to regulate its temperature by controlling the amount of reflected heat producing infrared light. The upper layer, superficial iridophores or S-iridophores, consists of blue nanocrystal-bearing cells which reflect light for the purpose of coloration. By the help of neurocircuits, chameleons control the arrangement and distance between these crystals in different parts of the skin. This allows them to control the wavelength of the light reflected by the iridophores, and so the color. For example, when the chameleon is relaxed, the S-iridophores are organized and tightly packed together, and so the crystals reflect light of shorter wavelengths, such as blue and green. When the animal is threatened or agitated or simply excited, the skin is stretched out, thus broadening the nanocrystal-bearing cells. Under this condition, the crystals reflect light of longer wavelengths like yellow and red, which are warning colors in the natural world. Now that we've seen that chameleons only possess red, yellow, and black pigment cells, where does this panther chameleon and others get that green coloration? The answer lies in the science of colors and how human beings perceive them. The green coloration is acquired when the blue light reflected by the iridophores goes through the outer yellow chromatophores. Now that we've seen how chameleons change colors, the reasons as to why they do so span from physiological response to thermoregulation, excitement, or changes related to reproduction. They can even change different skin regions to different colors, and while one region becomes more orange or red, another one becomes more bluish or whitish, creating pretty striking color effects and contrasts. Even though it's not the most important, the most common reason is camouflage. Even if the standard coloration of most chameleon species is cryptic enough, in case of necessity, chameleons are able to blend in even more with their surroundings. Camouflage helps chameleons not only to be undetected by their predators, but also to go unnoticed by their prey. In a study conducted with Smith's dove chameleons, it was discovered that these were able to adjust the degree of their color shifts to the visual capacities of their predators. Birds and snakes both feed on chameleons, but while the former have a greater perception of shapes and colors, the latter doesn't have such a sharp vision. It's seen that Smith's dove chameleons show more convincing color changes when faced with a predator bird than they do when faced with a snake. Chameleons are ectothermic, which means that the heat produced by the internal metabolisms is too low or negligible, and therefore they depend on external sources of heat. As we've seen a while ago, apart from the S-iridophores, chameleons possess a deeper layer of iridophores called D-iridophores, which highly reflect heat-producing infrared light, thus aiding in thermoregulation. Many other lizards also present an iridophore layer similar to D-iridophores. Apart from D-iridophores, chameleons also shift to lighter or darker colors in order to regulate their body temperature. This is more pronounced in species that live in habitats with extremely hot climates. Take for instance, the Namakwa chameleon, which inhabits deserts in Namibia and other southwestern African countries, shows an almost black color during the early morning hours in order to absorb maximum heat, while during the hottest times of the day, it shows a whitish coloration in order to reflect the maximum heat. Chameleons do not shift their coloration rapidly, but subtly. If they did, they would be much easier to spot by their predators. But a study conducted recently proved that under certain conditions of temperature or light, a chameleon may change its color rapidly. During the night, a chameleon is very pale when asleep, but darkens almost instantly when a torch is shown on them, and interestingly, only the side with the light shining on it. This is a reflexive response via light-sensitive receptors in the skin. This is actually the main function of chameleons' color shifting. Many times during their lifetime, these oddly cute creatures will change color in order to communicate with other members of the same species, like their health status, stress degree, or mating interest. By default, a chameleon is always camouflaged, meaning that a chameleon's standard coloration is usually similar to that of their habitat. So, color patterns usually indicate a healthy animal, while paler and duller coloration are shown if an animal feels sick or has a physical problem. Females in many species show more contrasted and conspicuous patterns when they are ready to mate and switch to darker colorations after mating. This specific coloration helps males know which females are available and with which females they should better save their energy. Males also show more eye-catching patterns during the mating seasons in order to indicate their intentions to females and to warn their rivals. Apart from during the breeding season, all chameleons use their boldest colors during encounters with rivals of the same species. It's in this situation when chameleons show the most conspicuous patterns, switching on bolder colors, apart from inflating to looking bigger and more aggressive in order to scare off their rivals. Defeated males will switch to dark colors to show submission, after which they will turn and walk away. A study conducted in 2013 looked at coloration in male chameleons during competition with other males. Males with a darker head were likely to win fights, while those with brighter stripes were likely to approach their opponents first during a competition. The range of coloration among different chameleon species is huge, as we've seen, but even with their superb abilities and impeccable adaptations, many chameleon species are endangered and are in the verge of extinction. This is mainly attributed to poaching so as to satisfy the high demand posed by illegal exotic animal trade and destruction of their habitat due to extensive development of the logging industry. With better awareness and proper conservation measures put in place, these colorful lizards will delight future generations with their spectacular color shifts for years to come. Okay, the time for your assignment has come. Which of these two videos shows the correct way a chameleon changes color? Is it the first one? Is it the second one? Or both or none? Please let me know in the comments below. Correct answers win a prize. Kindly subscribe and give this video a thumbs up. See you in the next video.